My high school journey was a very, very interesting one. I don't know if anybody else has had anything like this happen, but I figured I would share this with you guys because you might get a kick out of it either way. Not to mention some serious stuff that's been on my mind as well too. But I remember high school always feeling like that it was this unattainable thing, that it was this, you know, like other membrane of reality that I would never have the privilege of being able to enjoy because middle school sucks and it's like you're stuck in it for such a long time, right? Well, in our middle school, essentially what it was that it was 6th to 8th grade. I'm sure a lot of people probably have that experience, but ours was specifically those 3 grades in one building. And then you moved on to high school the next year after the 8th grade. And then you had, you know, obviously freshman to senior. Well, our school had the genius idea of, hey, we're going to rebuild everything that's, you know, happening up at the high school. We'll make sure that we make enough room for all of the 8th graders to come up to have school with all the high schoolers. Who the hell thought of that? I was a part of the group of people that when I was in 7th grade, literally I thought to myself, you know what? Next year, it's going to be awesome. We're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to be able to, you know, carry on some traditions that we knew that the 8th graders that, you know, pissed on us did. Not literally. I mean, they were, you know, assholes, but, you know, it's all figurative. But I was ready. I was so ready. I was ready to be finally at the top of the food chain. And then they told us that they said, yeah, we're gonna combine the 8th graders with all of the high schoolers because, well, we just want to make your life a living hell. They didn't exactly say that, but they definitely didn't care. We were also under the leadership of somebody that, oh man, I don't know if I want to say this because I might get in trouble. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. So not only in this high school did we have 8th to 12th grade, but for whatever reason, they felt it necessary to have a wing that was nothing but preschoolers. To which our principal at that time, and you know who you are. God, he hated my guts. I would tell him legit things like, hey man, like this is why this happened. And he would say, well, that's a poor excuse, Kyle. I think at one point I looked at him and I said, you're a poor excuse. The only reason you're here is because you were a terrible teacher, so they couldn't put you anywhere else. Oh, what was I talking about? Oh, right, the preschoolers. So, yeah, so we had a wing of the school where we had these preschoolers, and to which this principal looked at us and said, don't worry, they have AIDS. Now, what he meant was that he meant that there were people that would guide them through the school, that way they could get to where they need to go, right? But you don't say that. You just don't say, like, this is one of those moments that you're like, hey, yo, principal of worthless town, let's remember that conversation that we had about words and when to say things. He said this in front of a gymnasium of students, and you don't expect us to jump on that? I am not for making fun of anybody. I am not for, you know, having anybody be the butt end of a joke. However, there are some people that just bring on so much pain to themselves that it's kind of like, look, man, I don't even have to do anything. You did this yourself. So that made my high school career kind of weird. It made it, you know, very interesting to see how it was all going to pan out, right? But the one thing that really stands out to me the most is I remember being in biology class or science class or whatever. And essentially what ended up happening was that I looked over at one of the tables to my right, because they always have those, like, you know, circular tables that are kind of like, you know, like safe to spill pH2 fucking, you know, acid on them or something. These round tables that are essentially almost in every single science classroom. And I see, I guess you could say, a friend of mine, or more so an acquaintance. I remember looking over at him, and he has a cell phone with a dollar bill and a pill inside of this dollar bill, and he is just smashing the shit out of it. This is like period 2, right? I looked at him and I said, what the fuck are you doing? To which he looks at me in a daze, like I could tell he was already fucked up, or either that or he was really tired or whatever. But he looked at me and he said, school sucks, man. I just need a little something to get through it. Let me be very clear. If you have to crush up a Percocet in the middle of class, or a Viking, whatever the hell he was snorting, I don't know, he was shoving candy up his nose. But if you have to shove candy up your nose to survive high school, What you doing now, pal? So many times I got shit from people because I didn't party, because I didn't do the normal things that a high schooler did. And people gave me shit about it. Like, and it was always baffling to me because I'm like, okay, but I'm not breaking any rules. I'm not guilty of anything. I don't have to lie. Because remember, when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. But what's interesting is that I see these people now. I've ran into some. Some of them are doing great. But these people that were so upset with how I was living my life, the fact that either I, wasn't sexually active when I was in high school, or that I wasn't this, and this, they have like 4 or 5 kids they can't afford. So, who lost? I never had that. Thank God. Thankfully, I never had children, and I'm never going to. But the point is, I look at people and I see the craziness that we think that is a norm when we're a kid, or that when we're becoming an adult, or when, when we're finally learning how to drive, or we're doing all these different things. You think the world is one way, and it really isn't. I know a lot of people have said this, and people are probably tired of hearing it, especially if you're a kid, because your parents have probably said this to you many times. But it really is the truth, is that I wish I could go back to high school. I wish I could go back to less responsibility, to less worry, less stress, less anxiety. I remember thinking to myself, man, drama club on top of everything else I'm doing is way too much. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. But yet now I feel like that prepared me in a way. I feel like that it actually helped out a lot for me to have something like that with structure and, just organization, and knowing for a fact that, I could in fact pull something off. My high school days were anything but normal. But I tell you what, I don't regret anything that I did in the time that I was in high school. Looking back, I can genuinely say that I think that there was a proper formula to how things went on and how things happened. That's a lie. I probably would have started driving at 16 rather than 21. But hey, you do what you can. If you're in high school, or if you're in school of any kind, and if you're worried about a friend group, and you're worried about the people that give you shit every day, just know this. They're probably going to end up on a dead end one day in their life, because they have no way to be able to look past their own selfish existence. They don't. Sadly, there are a big majority of people in high school that are the ones that are crushing up pills on a desk because they can't handle it. Again, makes me wonder where you are now, man. Did you really need that? You probably still do. But yet I was the idiot. Good old high school.